Ladies and gentlemen, this particular session is being sponsored by International Water Resources Association, Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy in Singapore, Middle East Technical University, and we have tried to put together here a very distinguished group of panelists who are going to answer some very specific questions. As Doan Altinvillek said, it's part of a process. We are not going to solve the future of the world's water in one session. It has to continue. And in this particular session, we want to share with you a few things. And I was looking into predictions about the future. And I came across a quote in The Economist recently by Lawrence Peters. If those of you who don't know Lawrence Peters, he is the fellow who created the Peter Principle. And he talked about, perhaps jokingly, about economists and the future. And he says, according to economists, he said, economist is an expert who will know tomorrow why the things he predicted yesterday did not happen today. So we are in a very similar situation. So we are talking of the world's future, but it's very difficult to predict the world's future, water future. All we know, the world will change remarkably. Equally, perhaps, I think we are say with quite confidence, what we say today of what will be the situation in 10 years' time will be wrong. But this way, one of the things we need to look at, in order to look at the world's future, we have to ask two fundamental questions. What the water requirements for the future? How many people are we talking about? 9 billion, 10 billion, so we know the number. That is not important because we have, that is important, but we have some handle on the number. But what we don't have a handle right now, on which a lot of things will depend on, what standard of living will all these people have in 2050? And that will drive many of the forces. So until we know the people number and some indication of the standard of living in 2030, 2040, or 2050, it is almost very difficult to predict the world's future, water future. In these connections, I would like to share with you not so much of the world's water future, but the way the future is being managed by one organization I have the greatest respect of, and it's being represented here, Public Utilities Board of Singapore. Let me just say at the beginning, I do not work for PUB or any of the distinguished panelists you see here, nor am I their advisor. So I can say exactly how I see the world, what it is. But we are just finishing off a study, a book, on how Singapore, in 1965, which was an average third world country, or even below average, forgive me for saying so, in 10 to 15 years' time became one of the best in the world in the area of urban water management. We wanted to see what were the enabling conditions that managed to do that. And I was sharing my views. The book will be available early next year. I was sharing my views. It's a very simple planning process, which we have distilled into 3 small, short sentences. Right from the beginning, PUB's philosophy has been think ahead, look to the future. Number 1, that is. Number 2, think across, not only in sectorally, but now you see in this forum a lot of talk of energy, food. PUB has been doing that for 30 to 40 years, think across, not only that area, land use, economic development, whole area, think across. Number 3 part of the process, having done thinking ahead, having done the thinking across, the third item, think again. So with these three short principles, they have achieved miracles. And that is one of the reasons why we have the chief executive of PUB here. We have people from other institutions. Nestle, one of the world's water leaders. I'll just go from this side to, from my left to right. One of the world's leader in water management, a company which has institutionalized water use efficiency in their culture to the extent I have not seen in very many places. We have Veolia. I don't have to introduce Veolia. Everybody here knows Veolia, one of the world's leaders in water and wastewater management. We have Gretchen McLean from Xylem. The work they're doing in the area of water and wastewater management is incredible. The more I see it, more I am impressed with them. From Coca-Cola, the water efficiency they have managed to do in their latest plants, which I visited in Ahmedabad 3 months ago, is absolutely remarkable. How they managed to do that, I'm still scratching my head, but I take my hats off to Coca-Cola to do the things you have done. Then I have Anthony Cox from OECD. Ladies and gentlemen, I make no apology for saying that of all the international institutions I'm aware of, if any data or information from OECD, I take it to be reasonably correct. The rest, I take with a big grain of salt. So I'm very pleased that and one of the reasons Anthony is here, they have produced just a report, Environmental Outlook to 2050, well beyond what this panel is looking. You are way ahead of us. So with these few words, and the introduction of the panelists, we'd like to start the discussion. The way we would like to organize this particular session, each person will have 5 to 7 minutes to say what, in their view, are the 2 most important issues for water management if you want to ensure good water quality, water quantity for the world in 2025 beyond. None of them will have a PowerPoint presentations because I don't believe in PowerPoint presentations for this type of meetings.